On this week's show, we have our first coaching casualty of the NFL season, and COVID has reared its ugly head once again on the NFL schedule.
In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of the famous three horsemen of Boulder Dam.
I wonder who those guys could be. That and much more this week on an early morning edition of This Week in the World of Football.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 228 for December 22nd, 2021. I'm your host, Randy Snow, and across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Yes, it was literally snowing about 20 minutes ago. I mean, there's still some flurries, but now it's a little sunnier outside.
It's not sticking on the ground, and they say we're not going to have a white Christmas here in Michigan. It'll probably be raining.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I remember years ago we had 60 degrees or more on a Christmas day.
I know, we were outside playing beach
so
volleyball.
Weird.
We had the grill out.
This was before you were born, I think. That many years ago.
I picture you guys having the grill out, playing beach volleyball.
Probably not. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. From the NFL to the CFL to the XFL, college, high school, indoor, and arena football, we inform and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of the show, as well as other selected videos. So, let's review what happened this past week, and we begin with the World of Football scoreboard.
Yes, we begin with the World of Football scoreboard, but with a couple of little caveats, which we'll get to along the way. So, Week 15 started off as normal with the Kansas City Chiefs winning in an overtime thriller against the Los Angeles Chargers, 34-28. What a ending to this game. You were asleep.
I slept through the end of the game.
You were snoring.
I couldn't stay
It
up.
was exciting, and I was like, how is this dumb man just sleeping through this as Travis Kelce weaves and bobs his way through the Los Angeles Chargers defense to score the game-winning touchdown in overtime. It was incredible. I mean, not good for my picks, but still... it was a great thing to see. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, threw a decent ball. And you see there's a meme going around of Travis Kelce catching that ball with literally 3 LA defenders right there to tackle him. Mm-hmm. And he still somehow, and this was at like the 30-yard line, mind you, and he still found a way to score. Yeah. It was awesome. So a great ending to that game. And the big question now is, are the Chiefs back?
Well, I hope so. I kind of thought that they would be good all year long, but boy, they have really been in a slump this year.
Yeah, but hey, as we all have learned, it's not how you start the season, it's how you finish usually. And the Chiefs are getting hot. They're starting to get hot at the right time. I think they're the number 1 seed in the AFC last I looked. I
think you're right.
So they're right there at the top regardless. So
right.
They'll be in that conversation going into the final weeks.
Okay.
Speaking of in that conversation, how about the New England Patriots? They traveled to Indianapolis and got their butts whooped by the Colts, 27-17. Could Colts running back Jonathan Taylor be our league MVP, as the running back had a rushing touchdown now in 11 straight games, which is tied for the third longest single-season streak since 1950. This running back out of Wisconsin, I remember watching him play against Michigan one time. He had a couple of great long runs against them. And I remember thinking, this is who Detroit needs to draft. And he ended up getting picked last year to Indianapolis, and boy, oh boy, has he been electric. He is something else. So maybe this dude could win the MVP this season. It's usually a quarterback award nowadays.
Sure, yeah.
But this guy has. I mean, I know you don't like fantasy, but fantasy is a decent. I'm saying is a decent indicator for what kind of performances players kind of put out just based on, getting points for certain things. And Jonathan Taylor has been a point monster. This dude, catches, runs, scores touchdowns. He does it all pretty much. And I think he's got to at least be a viable MVP candidate. Now, that Patriots game was one of the 2 Saturday games that was supposed to be played because Hey, we're going to talk about the delays right now. There are 3 games that got moved because of COVID issues during the week. The other Saturday game was going to be the Browns and Raiders game, which ended up getting pushed back to Monday. So we had a Monday doubleheader, which we'll get to in a minute. And then on Sunday, we had the Eagles and Washington football team get pushed back to Tuesday, as well as the Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks pushed to Tuesday last night. Hence why we're sitting here on a Wednesday morning.
Yep. Football on a Tuesday night. I mean, we had it a couple times last year with COVID and everything, but to have a doubleheader on a Tuesday night, a doubleheader on Monday night, all the games on Sunday, Saturday game, Thursday game.
I know the NFL, they didn't want to have to do this.
Of course not.
They've had to do this a couple years in a row now, but do you think there's a little part of them that's like, yes, football every day? I mean, it's not that I like Tuesday football. It is weird. Like, I like the 5 o'clock starts for some of these games, especially like on a Tuesday. Like, could we maybe see Tuesday and Wednesday football?
Oh God,
Could we see week-long NFL football games?
We're gonna have an NFL
total
game every
domination of the sports news cycle. I mean, they already dominated, but like even more domination.
I mean, that would make more sense than trying to put a team in London, to have an NFL game every night of the week. But those 2 games last night.
Let's put up a poll. Oh my God, I didn't think I'd have to do this, but I'm going to put up a poll right now on the World of Football Twitter.
Well, while you're doing that,
keep talking.
The 2 games that were on TV yesterday, the Tuesday games, they were both at 7 o'clock at night, so they were being played at the same time. And we got the Rams game here in Kalamazoo, but the Washington game was literally at the same time, and they never gave too many updates during the game. Maybe at halftime or whatever. And then when the Rams game was over, they switched over to the Washington game, and they were both on Fox. So I thought that was weird. I thought they might be on different networks, like maybe NFL Network would pick it up. So at least you could flip back and forth, do the screen thing for having both games going at the same time. But yeah, it was strange that everybody in the country was going to see one or the other, and luckily we got the Rams game, so we got to see Stafford do his magic in L.A. But it just seemed weird that they couldn't divide that up between a couple of networks. I guess Fox probably had the rights to both of those games, and so they didn't want to lose a game or something. But it seemed like they would simulcast it somewhere, and maybe it was. I don't know.
All right, and the poll is now up. It'll be up for 7 days, so next week when we get to the Tuesday podcast. I guess I should have made it 6 days. But next week when we get to the podcast, we'll check on the update. And, yeah. So... Okay, we'll keep an eye on that now.
Which would you rather have?
Which would you rather have? Our World of Football poll. Make sure you hashtag that. World of Football poll. Would you rather have an NFL game every day or an NFL team in London? Thanks, Randy, for that poll question today. Good job.
Well,
I knew there's a reason we kept you around here.
Yeah. Is that the reason?
Yep.
All right. More scores.
Yes, more scores. We got to hurry up and get through these NFL scores. On Sunday now, we had the Dallas Cowboys who traveled to New York to play the Giants, and the Cowboys got the 21-6 win. Dallas has now won 9 of their last 10 games against the New York Giants, and Dallas at 10-4, looking pretty decent.
Why did I pick the Giants to win last week? That was a dumb move.
You're an idiot, as the Grinch said in the Jim Carrey version. Moving on to the toilet bowl of the NFL this week, it was the Houston Texans that got the 30-16 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston has now won 8 straight games against Jacksonville. And the big story out of Jacksonville, obviously, this week was Urban Meyer's firing.
Right.
It wasn't a surprise. It was almost inevitable.
Yeah.
The way things were starting to roll out. Even last week, the Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, I think that's his name. I want to say Shere Khan, like in the Jungle Book. But no, Shad Khan came out and said, we're not going to make any rash decisions. Then the story came out about the former Jaguars kicker saying that Urban Meyer kicked him before a game and said make a field goal, dip poop, as I censor myself for the podcast. Something along the like that's just crazy how if any of this is true, and then
I don't know.
And so then Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator, takes over as interim head coach. Gee, where did we heard that before? As he filled in for the Lions last year after Matt Patricia got fired. So boy, oh boy.
He's on mop-up duty again.
Yeah. So, what a season down there in Jacksonville. And we'll get to talking about their draft prospects now in a second too.
Yeah, well, Urban Meyer's got fired with a 2-11 record.
2-11 record,
and
and
thought,
then the other part of that story is they're looking at not paying him any of that salary.
They don't want to pay him.
I wouldn't pay him either, but
they're trying to say that it was for just cause that they fired him. So
just cause we hate him, as Michael Scott would say. Moving on. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Tennessee Titans 19-13. Ben Roethlisberger surpassed Phillip Rivers for fifth most passing yards in NFL history at 63,440 yards. Wow. So, yeah, that's pretty nuts. Those guys have been in the league. Roethlisberger now has been in the league a long time.
Yes, he has. Is this going to be his last season? Who knows?
That's that's the rumor that was going around there. The Miami Dolphins continue their hot streak, defeating the New York Jets 31-24. For Miami, they have now won 6 straight games for the first time since 2016, when they also started their season 1-7. So good for the Dolphins. I like the fact that the Dolphins have kind of just had this resurgent, the young quarterback in Tua, a younger head coach, newer head coach who not a lot of people give credit to, but he's turned that Dolphins team around, and they're. I won't say they're sneaky good, but I mean they're making some noise, and I like seeing the Dolphins be good. Actually, it stinks watching the Dolphins be terrible, but I've always kind of liked the Dolphins. I've always had a soft spot for them.
Go back to your old logo, Dolphins. That new one sucks.
Well, get out of here. It's not terrible. I mean,
it is.
I do like the throwbacks though when they pull out the throwbacks. Moving on, I think they could even tweak their old ones a little bit, not as extreme as they did for the redesign they have now, but I think they could tone the color back a little bit. I think the color got a little too bright, but anyway, this isn't the uniform podcast. It should be, because I could talk all day about NFL uniforms. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Carolina Panthers 31-14. Buffalo has now won by 15 points and each of its 8 wins this season. So anytime Buffalo wins, they win big, at least by two possessions.
That's cool.
So Buffalo back on the winning track after some really rough games the last month. The Cincinnati Bengals got a big road win against the Denver Broncos, 15-10. Denver's now 0-4 this season against NFC North opponents. So they lost to the whole NFC North this year. And then a scary scene with Teddy Bridgewater. I haven't heard any updates on him since the game. Yeah,
I didn't actually see it. I didn't see the replay, but I've heard all about it, that they got carted off the field, taken to the hospital, I think. And best wishes for him.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it was a very scary scene. So hopefully he'll be okay. And that's something we didn't even talk about in the Thursday night game, was that scary scene like at the beginning of the game with the tight end for the Chargers who went down. That was very scary. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name at the top of my head, but it's been about a week now. Everybody's seen he's made a recovery a little bit. They've said he's probably going to be discharged from the hospital, but yeah, he went down, and it looked like just a regular, like he just kind of missed the ball, kind of tripped, and
didn't look that bad.
It looked like he might have hit his head on the turf, but then the way he kind of froze, I thought he was just like playing around because his arms locked up, and he just froze there, and I was like, okay, dude, like, come on, get up. And then when his teammate went over to grab him and his arms did not move, I was like, oh no, this is bad. Like, that's scary bad. And then Joe Buck made a dumb comment about, oh, he must be shaking because it's cold here in LA today. Like, screw you, Joe Buck. God, I hate how they say, like...
Nobody knew how serious the injury was at that point.
No, but still, like, I hate how whenever a player gets injured, the announcers always say, well, we don't want to speculate, but allow me to speculate. Like, I hate Joe Buck. Get out of here, Joe Buck. Next poll question. Does everybody hate Joe Buck as much as I do? Either. I'm just kidding. I won't do a poll. And right now we got 3 votes on that poll, by the way, as I look over. 3 votes for an NFL game every day. Okay.
I think the tight end for Denver or
Los Angeles.
The one that you're talking about right now.
Yeah, Los Angeles, the Chargers.
Yeah, okay. You said L.A. I was immediately
I'm gonna look up his name real quick because I think
he's the one that went to the hospital. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know if he went to the hospital or not, but
I know he got carted off.
Yeah, the tight end for the Chargers is the one I'm thinking of. They put him on the board, got him off the field, and they took him to the hospital.
Yeah. That's so last I saw 4 days ago, Chargers tight end Donald Parham Jr. was set to return home from the hospital after being diagnosed with a concussion. So, good for him.
Looked like a little more than
at least getting out, so we'll have to keep an eye on if he gets back playing this year. So very scary scene, but glad he's at least out of the hospital. All right, moving on to San Francisco. Actually, before we get to San Francisco, let's talk about our beloved Detroit Lions.
Yes,
they had a tough game this week. They're playing one of the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, this should have been a real slaughter.
The Arizona
and it was.
Hold on. You're not even gonna let me get the joke out. I hate you. But the Arizona Cardinals were coming to town, the best team in the league. The Cardinals haven't lost a game on the road this year, and the Lions absolutely just slapped them. They slapped them so hard that Cardinals didn't even know what hit them. The Cardinals social media team didn't even post the final score. That's right. I'm calling them out. I'm not even joking. Go to the Arizona Cardinals Twitter account, and they never posted the final score. Randy, you probably haven't even seen this.
You were telling me about it.
Yep. We're going to the page right now live. I'm going to show you. This is their Twitter page, is it not?
Yes.
Okay. So let's scroll down here, and we're going to go all the way down here to they talk about the game beforehand. And it might take me a few scrolls to get down here. December 20th, injury updates, blah, blah, blah. Video from the game, but not the actual score of the game. This is terrible live radio.
Your point is they didn't even post the score of the game.
Because, you see, they had their inactives for the game as we scroll up. So cold in the D. Guess who? Video before pregame. Kyler Murray plays football today. Keep scrolling up, everybody. Let's see.
Well,
here you go. So, rise up. So that had to have been around kickoff team. Not a bad way to start the game. Matt Prater is good from 29 yards. Then they had an injury during the game. Kyler Murray connects with Christian Kirk for that 26-yard touchdown. And then, where's they never posted the final score. Where's that, Cardinals? I'm scrolling. Do you see a final score anywhere? Do you, Randy?
No, I don't.
No. Oh, then here we are just talking about next week's game all of a sudden. Cardinal social media team.
Well, I have a sister and a brother that both live out in Phoenix, and they were watching the game. And at halftime, I was going to text my brother, and all I was going to say was scoreboard because they were up 17-0.
I told you to be a good Lions fan,
and you told me not to, so I did not. And I never heard from any of them. I heard from nobody out in Arizona. Even after the game, I don't think they responded.
Oh, yeah. Did we even say the score? Well, guess what? Cardinal social media team, take a note from us. We're actually going to say the score of the game. The Detroit Lions defeated the Arizona Cardinals 30-12. 30-12. That is right. The Lions had an 18-point win over a team they were not predicted to beat.
Yeah, anybody that bet on the Lions to win this one.
Oh, the Lions screwed up all the parlays.
This is either a genius or an idiot.
If you watch the Pat McAfee show, they talk about the Lions every day, pretty much, and they were talking about that Lions win, and they're like, these stinking Detroit Lions screwed up so many parlays. The Cardinals should have been an easy, just like, oh yeah, we'll get that parlay, no problem. And the Detroit Lions came in and said, nah, and ruined everybody. So FanDuel or whatever companies made so much money thanks to the Detroit Lions.
The scenes of Kyler Murray on the sideline towards the end of the game, he looked like
shell-shocked.
A kid on the playground that nobody wanted to talk to.
And it's not like, I don't think he played terribly. Like, he had a couple great throws. Oh my God, there was that one play where he literally ran back 20 yards, heaved it up. It was like a 50-yard pass, but like it was a 30-yard gain because he ran backwards 20 yards or whatever it was. I'm exaggerating a little, but it was an incredible throw and an incredible catch by A.J. Green. And sure, he had the real bad interception, which may or may not have been on his receiver. But I'm just, the play calling was bizarre. I know they were without DeAndre Hopkins, but why weren't you rolling Kyler Murray around? The Lions were literally playing with practice squad guys on their defense. A guy I barely heard of this season, Charles Harris, was a monster for the Lions. I'd never heard of the dude. And here he is coming out of nowhere, like with 5, 6, 7, 20 tackles during the game. I heard his name for like 30 minutes straight. Yeah. It was incredible. And then Amani Oruwariye, the Lions cornerback, which, by the way, if we find out he is not in the Pro Bowl, I'm going to be mad because the dude, that dude has been great this season. So, I mean, hats off also to the Lions for, and I hate saying it, to Dan Campbell and getting that team ready as a team that went in with a 1-11-1 record.
Right.
Beating a team with 10 wins, which has never, I don't think it's ever happened in the NFL before. A team with one win beating a team with 10 or more wins. So the Lions made history, which is really bizarre to think about. And we were sitting there with our arms crossed. I was waiting for the inevitable. Oh yeah. Oh, we're up 17 points. All right, where's Where's the bad part? Where's the Where's the downfall?
And then the second half kickoff happened, and the downfall began. But no, it didn't happen this time.
No. Yeah, we were waiting. We're like, all right, and here we go. Where's the first sign of disappointment?
Yeah.
The Lions had one fumble during the game. That was like the worst thing Detroit did all game long. Maybe a couple of 3-and-outs or whatever. But the Lions never looked like they were going to give up that game. The Cardinals made a couple of plays, and you're like, okay, they're down by this. But the Lions were able to control the clock. That opening drive, Detroit, was like an 8-9 minute drive. And the Lions set the tempo to that game. So kudos to the Lions coaching staff for managing that game.
And the Lions running back that had over 100 yards rushing.
Yep, another practice squad guy.
A practice squad guy that we watched in the preseason. We thought
Reynolds.
Oh, this guy's going to make the team. He's awesome, and they put him on the practice squad. And now they have actually signed him to the 53-man roster. He deserves that. He's put in his time, and he did great.
Yep, Reynolds. I forget his first name right now.
Yeah,
and Chris Charles.
I don't know, but
Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds, that's his name.
Jared Goff, they said, has never lost to the Cardinals.
Well, I think he's lost one, but he's won 8 straight.
Okay,
he won 8 straight against the Cardinals, which is unbelievable. And then now, Goff has now got 2 wins with the Lions.
Right.
And he's never won a game with anybody else other than Sean McVay and now Dan Campbell. So, hey, Goff looked okay. They announced yesterday or this morning that the Lions kicker was the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. I didn't realize he made 4 field goals during the game and a bunch of extra points.
He's looked good ever since they signed him.
Yeah, former New England.
Has he even missed a kick or an extra point?
I don't jinx it. I don't know. But okay, we focused a lot on the Lions. We're happy.
But with
with the win, here we go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
With the win, they now have the 2nd overall draft pick in the 2022 draft. The Jaguars are now the number 1 team with the number 1 pick.
So, okay, right before we move on, then let me ask you the one big question, then we'll continue on. I was like, maybe we should make this a poll question, but I won't. As a Lions fan, would you rather have the number 1 pick, or would you rather this team build on win, even though they've been eliminated? Would you rather see them build up this culture? That's been the debate right now on Lions Twitter.
Well, they've got so many picks from other teams. They've got the LA pick, first round pick for the next couple of years. So they've got picks. They can make some trades. I want to see this team win. I want to see them win out the rest of the season and really get something established under Dan Campbell and set up this team for years to come. That's what I want. A number 1 draft pick would be great, but it also means you're the biggest loser in the NFL. That's why you're getting the number 1 pick. I'm tired of seeing that. We've done it too many times before. I want to see some wins. My opinion.
Okay. And with that, an update to our World Football poll. We've got a couple more votes in, and it is now. Well, it's not live on yours. I'd have to refresh it. But as of right now, the poll stands at, as the screen refreshes, and it disappeared. But on my phone, it says 60% for NFL game every day, 40% NFL team and London. So, all right, moving on. The 49ers of San Francisco defeated the Atlanta Falcons 31-13. San Fran has now won 3 straight games at Levi Stadium after losing 8 of its previous 9. The Green Bay Packers narrowly escaped the Baltimore Ravens 31-30 as the Baltimore Ravens again went for 2 at the end of the game to try to win it and came up just short. It was thrown again to tight end Mark Andrews. They were without Lamar Jackson during the game, so Tyler Huntley looked great for Baltimore there for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to come up that short again at the goal line, I think another decent play call, but Mark Andrews just couldn't come down with it, and the Packers defense kind of sniffed it out too. So tough call. Like, how do you feel about your team? If it was your team going for 2 for the win? I mean, the Lions kind of did that, and then they lost by a field goal. But,
right. Yeah.
But the gutsy going for 2 to win the game.
I don't know. At this time of the year, I think you need to tie it up, send it into overtime, and take your chances on getting the coin flip. Because this is what can happen. You don't make that 2 points, you don't win, game over.
Yeah,
they've done it twice now this year. They
take
should
my
learn.
Chances in overtime. I mean, you got to take your chances in overtime.
Yeah.
But I get kind of wanting to just let's win it now.
Yeah, I do understand the mentality, but it's not working for you. Baltimore.
And because of that, the Green Bay Packers are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They clinched the NFC North for the 3rd straight season, I believe. So, what's Green Bay playing for the rest of the year besides home field advantage?
I have no idea.
That's probably all they're playing for now is home field advantage in the playoffs. Then the Sunday night game, which you and I watched, a real barn burner of a game, as the Saints also hit by COVID. They were out without their head coach, Sean Payton again. But they got the 9-0 victory over the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a snoozer of a game this was. Unless you like defense, this was a real interesting game from that perspective. And watching Tom Brady throw a tablet on the sidelines and break it, and then not get flagged for running up to a head coach and call him a lot of names, which... Come on, NFL. Let's get consistent with some of these calls. You're going to find a dude for not having his socks up to his knees, but Tom Brady can literally run up to a head coach and call him a piece of poop.
Of course, he's bringing in the ratings. People watch him because they love him. Other people watch him because they hate him. And this was I love this game because I love seeing Brady not being Brady. First shutout in, 15 years, they said?
Yep, they said shutout for the first time since Week 15 of 2006 in Miami. So, yeah. And then we had our doubleheader on Monday because of the COVID action, as we talked about earlier. The Raiders defeated the Browns on a last-second field goal, 16-14. That field goal, as time expired, was 48 yards long, so breaking hearts out there in Cleveland. And then on Monday night, we had the Vikings defeat the Chicago Bears 17-9. 6 of those 9 points literally coming on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Because the Bears were just throwing a garbage time touchdown.
Yep.
There's no way they could have won, but at first they called it a no touchdown down at the 1. Then they reviewed it. They gave them the points. So I'm sure there's some bettors who are upset that the touchdown counted.
Somebody had to be PO'd about that.
And some people having to be cheering like, thank God they covered. I don't know the spread for that game, so that was funny. Then last night we had the Los Angeles Rams defeat the Seattle Seahawks 20-10. Cooper Kupp surpassed Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce for most receiving yards in a season in Los Angeles Rams history. He had 119 catches in 1995, so now Cooper Kupp has surpassed that.
And with 3 games to go.
With 3 games to go, and Matthew Stafford is his quarterback.
Yeah. And whoever heard of Cooper Kupp until Matthew Stafford got there?
Well, I mean, everybody but you, apparently. 'Cause I've known we've all known who Cooper Kupp was the last couple of years. He's been decent. Jared Goff got the ball to him, but he's on a whole other level. Now, Stafford, everybody likes to say that, Stafford's not a great quarterback, but think about some of the guys who had career years. Stafford's been their quarterback, so you can't, just say, oh, well, they were always great. They helped Stafford. It works the other way because, wide receivers like Calvin Johnson had his best season with Matthew Stafford under center. Golden Tate played with other teams, best season under Matt Stafford. Kenny Galladay, now he's with the Giants, best season under Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Who's another wide receiver the Lions have had? They've had a couple more, and now you add Cooper Kupp to that list of wide receivers who've played with Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford was the quarterback who was throwing them the ball during their best season. So say what you will about Stafford. Is he perfect right now? No, they're still figuring things out in LA.
Sure.
But I think Stafford should get a lot more credit than people are willing to give him. I think they're still thinking like he's still got that lion stink on him, so people don't want to give him the credit.
Well, also, wasn't there another stat? Cooper Kupp now has 10 games with 90 yards per game, which is an NFL record. Nobody in league history has ever had 10 games in a season.
He's Stafford's go-to.
Yeah.
Stafford's go-to. And he's still, and nobody can stop him. You know what's going to happen.
Yep. You know who's going to, you know where he's going with
number
the ball.
10's going to get the ball from number 9, and you can't stop him.
It was like the Packers sweep. Everybody knew it was coming. Everybody knew who was going to carry it, but they executed it so well, nobody could stop it.
Yep. All right, and then finally, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Washington football team, who brought their benches to Philadelphia, by the way.
What?
I don't know why this is a thing now. Yeah, Washington flew in their own special benches.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday. It's a thing now, apparently. Teams are flying in their own benches to away games. I don't know why. But yeah, so the Philadelphia Eagles won 27-17. Jalen Hurts has surpassed Michael Vick for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a season in Philadelphia history with 9. So, Michael Vick had 9 in 2010. So now Jalen Hurts, 10 or more rush. I don't know how many he had last night. I didn't catch any highlights from it, but Jalen Hurts in his second year doing stuff there in Philly, and that's it for the NFL scoreboard this week.
Wow. Okay. Well,
yeah, sorry, that still took up about half the show.
Yes, it did.
Well, we did stop. We did take a detour in Detroit Lions Town. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move on to some bowl games. 42 bowl games this season.
I thought you were going to say today. I'm like, oh my
No.
God, this ain't going to stop.
No, 42 this season. Here are the first 12 that have been played already.
Yes, roll through them.
Starting with Friday, December 17th, the Bahamas Bowl. It was Middle Tennessee State over Toledo, 31-24. That same day, the Cure Bowl, Coastal Carolina over Northern Illinois, 47-41. On Saturday, the 18th, you had the Boca Raton Bowl, Western Kentucky over Appalachian State, 59-38. In the HBCU Celebration Bowl, it was South Carolina over Jackson State, 31-10. Jackson State, that's the team that's got Deion Sanders as the coach. Yep. He didn't win the Celebration Bowl. The team did not play that great, but he led the team to an 11-1 record this year. He's turned things around.
And he recruited the number one overall college football recruit.
He's got something special going on there at Jackson State. Don't feel bad for him for losing this bowl game. He's going to be back next year, and he's building something there that you need to keep an eye on. So, yeah, he's bringing a lot of attention to the HBCU schools, which I think is great. Eddie George is at Tennessee State, and I think this might be a trend. NFL players that go to some of these HBCU schools and try and get their football programs to be the best they can be. And I think it's fantastic. All right, the New Mexico Bowl, Fresno State over UTEP, 31-24. In the Independence Bowl, it was University of Alabama Birmingham over BYU, 31-28. In the Lending Tree Bowl, I had this one marked on my calendar. Liberty over Eastern Michigan, 56-20. In Los Angeles, it was normally I don't give the sponsor of these bowl games. I just tell you the bowl because I think the whole sponsor thing is stupid.
Unless it's the Cheez-Its Bowl.
Yeah, right. But this was the Jimmy Kimmel L.A. Bowl. It was Utah State over Oregon State, 24-13. He was there hamming it up at the game and this and that. And
I'm sure if you had the Randy Snow Chex Mix Bowl, you would be hamming it up too.
No, I think it would be the Randy Snow Werther's Original.
Or that. I'd watch that bowl game.
I'd be flipping the coin toss. Yeah, I'd be holding that big speaker that looks like a pot lid that they have on the sidelines. For the sound of the game. Yeah, I'd be there. But Jimmy Kimmel,
You'd ham it up too if you had a bowl game named after you.
Yeah, what was that? The mascot, the Jimmy Camel.
Yeah, Jimmy Camel.
Yeah. Check out that video somewhere. The camel was doing something and was throwing up.
They're having like a little race. At the end of the race, he threw up in the pier or whatever. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, very.
Comedy gold.
I don't think so. All right, New Orleans Bowl, Louisiana over Marshall, 36-20. On Monday, the December 20th, it was the Myrtle Beach Bowl. That's a trend now. Instead of a Cotton Bowl, Apple Bowl, whatever, it's now the name of the city where it's at.
That's fine. That's perfect.
I would take that over something else.
Over the Randy Snow's Werther's Original Bowl?
Maybe. In Kalamazoo. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Tulsa over Old Dominion, 30-17. Yesterday, it was the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Wyoming over Kent State, 52-36. And it was the Frisco Bowl last night, San Diego State over the University of Texas at San Antonio, the Roadrunners, 38-24. This is just the second loss of the season for the Roadrunners. I felt bad for them, but what a great season they had.
Yeah.
They were highly ranked, undefeated till way late in the season. Great season for them. Great helmets, too. I love their helmets. And then tonight, in the 13th game, it's going to be the Armed Forces Bowl. It's going to be Missouri versus Army today. So check that out. All right, spotlight on some lower-level college football going on. In the FCS playoffs, the semifinal round, it was number 2 North Dakota State over number 3 James Madison, 20-14. And it was number 8 Montana State over South Dakota State, 31-14. So that sets up the FCS championship game, which will be played on January 8th. And it's going to be number 2 North Dakota State versus number 8 Montana State. That game's going to be played in Frisco, Texas. South Dakota State has won 8 FCS titles in the last 11 years. So will they add another one? Check that out. Find out if they can make it 9. In Division 2, the championship game for D2, number 1 Ferris State improved to 14-0 with their win over Valdosta State 59-14. It's the first ever national championship for the Ferris State Bulldogs, where your uncle went to school for a while. It's north of Kalamazoo here, north of Grand Rapids, actually. Congratulations to Ferris State for winning their first national championship. And Valdosta State dropped to 12-2 on the season.
Real quick, this game. So something I'm trying to see if I could find it real quick. I read an interesting thing last night about the quarterback for Ferris State.
Oh,
he won a national championship with the Maryland lacrosse team, and with his last year of eligibility, and I hope I'm getting this right. With his last year of eligibility, he went and plays football with the Ferris State Bulldogs this year, and leads them to a Division II national championship title.
wow.
You look that story up, it's incredible. Like, this dude, like, yeah, 2 national championships in 2 different sports with 2 different colleges, like, crazy.
Look this up on your phone. I forgot to write this down and put it in our rundown. The Harlan Hill Trophy was awarded. That is the Division II equivalent to the Heisman Trophy. It was handed out, and I don't remember who won the trophy this year, but I meant to write it down. I meant to add it to the rundown today, and
okay, well, yeah, there's another great live radio segment, everybody, as Adam
I can't do everything,
scours
man.
the internet.
I can't do everything.
You
All
do
right.
do everything.
While you do that, I'm going to go on to the Division III championship game, the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl in Canton, Ohio. I thought that's kind of cool. They played it in Canton, Ohio this year. Mary Hardin Baylor ended the season 15-0 with their win over North Central of Illinois, 57-24. North Central finished the season 13-1 now with that loss in the title game. Let's see. This is the second title for Mary Hardin Baylor since 2018. You may remember this story, Adam. In 2019, Mary Hardin Baylor had to vacate their 2016 national championship because head coach Peter Fredenberg let a player use his car for more than 18 months, which was an improper benefit for a student athlete. But Pete Fredenberg is still the head coach there at Mary Hardin Baylor. You remember that story? I had forgotten about that.
Vaguely recall
but
that story.
As I was looking up the score, I found a link to that, and I do remember that they actually had another national championship. All right, Tyson Bagent? Bagent?
I'd say Bagent, but
okay. Where's he from?
He is
I don't
from
recognize that team
Shepherd.
logo. Shepherd. Okay. All right. So that's your 2021 Harlan Hill Trophy winner. Yeah, I saw a link to that or whatever, and I totally had forgotten about it. We did a history lesson on who was Harlan Hill and why he's got an award named after him. So that's out there on one of our podcasts. Let's see. NAIA championship game. Number 2 Morningside finished the season 14-0 by defeating number 3 Grandview 38-28 in Durham, North Carolina. This is the third title in 4 years for the Morningside Mustangs. Grandview, also undefeated going into that game, finishes the season with a 14-1 record. So congratulations to the Morningside Mustangs, NAIA champions. And finally, in National Junior College Athletic Association in their Division I title game, it was number 2 New Mexico Military over number 1 Iowa Western, 31-13. This game was played in Little Rock, Arkansas. And that is it for our World of Football scoreboard.
Goodness
Wow.
gracious, yeah,
So much
took us forever.
championship football being played all around the country.
Yeah.
And most of these games were on TV. And if they were on ESPN, they're going to re-show them a time or two. So if you're interested in any of these games, take a look at. You probably see the replay here pretty soon. All right, we've already talked about Urban Meyers in our NFL news being cut. Las Vegas is set to host Super Bowl 59 in February of 2025.
Yeah,
so
we speculated on that.
Yeah,
was
we
a rumor
knew.
that went out. We knew it was probably going to happen,
Yep.
and it was official.
Yep, they made it official. That the owners were actually meeting this past week. They didn't make a lot of news about that, but this is the one thing that came out of the meetings that I'm aware of. And I think the owner of the Jaguars was on his way to the meeting when he made the decision that, yeah, okay, I can't keep this guy around anymore, so I'm going to fire my head coach. But yeah, otherwise, I didn't really see any news out of the owners' meetings. Let's see. Here's a story I thought was interesting. The NFL has awarded international home marketing rights in Canada to the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. This is an initiative aimed at building the team brands and the NFL's following beyond the U.S. borders. Marketing rights were also awarded to 18 other teams that bid on them in 7 other countries, including Australia, Brazil, China, Germany, Mexico, Spain, and the United Kingdom. The NFL wants all 32 teams to play at least one game outside the U.S. in the next 8 seasons. Now, I didn't see this anywhere, except this came from the Canadian News Sports Channel, TSN. And that's where I saw the link, and they had all this information. I've never heard the NFL talk about this.
Well, of course, well, down here we won't hear the NFL talk about that, but, up there in Canada.
Well, I mean, the fact that the NFL wants all 32 teams to play outside of the U.S. in the next 8 years, why isn't that making news?
I don't know. It's one of those things that flies under the radar. That's why we cover it here, because guess what? We're the hard-hitting football news site on the internet.
Yeah, we don't just look at ESPN, man. We're getting our news from Canada, telling us what's going on here in the United States.
Yeah.
Thank you, Canada.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, maple syrup drinking, elk riding.
Be nice. Be nice.
Gentle people.
They're our friends up north. We love Canadian people.
Canada. I do love Canada.
And I'm so looking forward to going back there again. It's been 2 years,
Yeah.
at least, since we've been over there for games.
I miss going to CFL games.
Yeah, really. Hopefully this will be over with by next season. In CFL news, the CFL released a preliminary schedule for the 2022 season. That's kind of unusual. I don't know if they've ever done that before.
Yeah.
They have put their schedule out, within weeks after the Grey Cup, and it was late this year. But a preliminary schedule. But I was looking at the Toronto Argonauts schedule just for the heck of it, and during the regular season, which is supposed to begin on June 9th, according to the schedule, Toronto and Hamilton are going to play 4 times in 5 weeks. I looked at it, and they play back-to-back games, home and away,
Right.
and then there's a game with the Calgary Stampeders for Toronto, and then they play Hamilton back-to-back games again.
Yeah.
So within a 5-week period, 4 times they're going to play the Hamilton.
And you said for like a month they weren't going to leave the province of
right. Yeah, they don't
Ontario.
leave the province of Ontario for like half of the season or something
that's
like
crazy.
that. So yeah, like I said, this is a preliminary schedule. Hopefully they'll get things all ironed out to where everybody's satisfied with the schedule and whatnot.
Now, there are 2 stories you didn't put in the rundown from the CFL. I would like to quickly highlight that the CFL Red Blacks have announced that Sean Burke will be their new general manager. He is only the second general manager in team history.
Oh, okay.
That happened 3 days ago. You and I talked about it, so don't sound surprised. But the thing that broke yesterday, about 20 hours ago, was that the Edmonton Elks have named Chris Jones as the club's general manager and head coach. So he's returning to Edmonton. So,
Cool.
yeah, a couple of news stories out of Canada. Don't want to leave them left out.
Of course not. Let's see. What else do we have here? In college news, Tate Meyer, I think it's
Tate Meyer.
Is it Meyer?
I believe it's Tate Meyer. That's how I've been pronouncing it.
All right. The high school football player who was killed in the recent Oxford high school shooting here in Michigan was made an honorary member of the 2022 signing class by Michigan State University.
I thought that was cool.
It
Very
was
classy.
Very nice thing for them to do. I don't know if that's where Tate wanted to go
I think
to
that's
college.
where he wanted to go. I know he
Okay.
was visiting Toledo before the shooting.
Okay.
But I think it was always his dream to go to Michigan State. So to have them, now the family's got I don't know if they get like a certificate or some sort of paperwork that says, he would have been a signee for the club. It's,
symbolic,
it's
but
a nice symbolic
it's a
gesture.
very nice gesture, I think.
Yeah, so it was really cool to see Michigan State do that. And then when they showed the big collage of all their signees this year, and you see Tate Meyer,
Okay.
or Mayer, however you pronounce his last name, amongst them was really cool to see.
Yeah. And then a story that you just brought to my attention just before we started
Yeah,
recording.
I saw this last night, and I thought it's worth at least mentioning.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the University of Michigan. I saw this story on ESPN that the team is going to get the COVID-19 booster ahead of their game against Georgia. So I think today they're doing it as a team. They're all going to get their booster shots. Probably not every single player.
Right.
They didn't give an exact number of how much of the team was going to go do it, but the fact that a majority of players are going to go do this, I think is a great sign. They want to make sure that they have every available person for this big game, one of the biggest games in Michigan football history.
Sure, yeah, in recent years.
So I think that's pretty cool. I just thought it was worth noting.
They just don't want COVID to be a reason that interferes with their putting their best foot forward on this game. So, yeah, I think that's good.
And the fact that they rallied as a team and said, hey, we're all doing this is also pretty cool.
Okay. Yesterday, we posted a video.
Yep, in place of this podcast.
Right. Instead of our regular podcast, we did something special. Last Friday, we went and we saw the movie American Underdog. We both liked it very much for different reasons, but we recorded our thoughts yesterday, and we put out about a 25-minute video.
Yeah.
You can call it a video review, but it was just us talking about the movie.
I tried to make it a review, but it was more of a discussion and Randy gushing over the Arena Football League. So brace yourselves.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I planned to buy it. I mean, I planned to buy it before I even saw it, but yeah, go check that out on YouTube.
Yep.
It's our review of American Underdog, and you'll see what our thoughts were on the movie.
Yep.
And if you haven't seen it, which a lot of people haven't, it comes out on Christmas Day.
It comes out this Friday, guys.
Yep.
So you have a couple days. See it with the whole family. I saw all the show times this weekend, at least at our local theater, getting ready for it as I was looking for other tickets. So it's out there. It's going to be out there. Go check it out.
Yeah, if your
Support it.
If your NFL team is not playing on Saturday, go to the movies and watch football.
Right, yeah, because
it's
it's exclusively in theater, so you're not going to find it on a streaming service.
Right.
I know right now a lot of people are kind of nervous because of this Omicron virus, but after this last weekend, how crazy it was for people going to the theater, because movie side of things, real quick, Spider-Man made the second biggest opening weekend in American, domestic box office history. So, and that's in a pandemic. We haven't had that kind of weekend since like 2019.
Yeah.
So this is like the first big blockbuster in 2 years. So many people went out to the theaters. I think people are ready to go back to the theater.
Sure.
I think that people are going to see that the theaters are safer than you'd think.
Sure.
I think the theaters do great jobs spacing people out. They space show times out. So if you haven't been to the theater in a while, I think this is a good one to get you back into theaters, especially for the holiday season.
Right. Yeah. The theater that we went to, they have those reclining seats, so you're sitting next to somebody, but you're not that close, and they have a lot less seats in the theater because of these big reclining seats now, and I think the biggest thing that people have to worry about is sitting next to you and getting popcorn spilled on them before the movie starts. But otherwise, wear a mask in the theater. There's nothing wrong with that, and you'll be fine. We've been to some movies, and I have no problem going into a movie theater right now. Okay, Arena Football TV on YouTube. The game that they posted this week, or one of them anyway, was the 1999 game between the Florida Bobcats and the Arizona Rattlers. Former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Danny White was the Arizona head coach at that time. Check out Arena Football TV on YouTube. Subscribe to their page. It's a great site. A lot of great games out there. If you remember it, you're gonna feel like you're a kid again going to an arena game. And if you have never seen it, go educate yourself on how great arena football was. All right, let's move on to our obituaries. We have 3 this week. And the first one is Harry Jacobs, a linebacker in the NFL for 11 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 84. Jacobs played college football at Bradley University in Illinois and was selected in the 11th round of the 1959 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions. However, he signed with the Boston Patriots of the new rival American Football League and played there from 1960 to 1962. He then played for the Buffalo Bills from 1963 to 1969 and won back-to-back AFL titles in 64 and 65. He finished his playing career with the New Orleans Saints in 1970. Jacobs was inducted into the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame in 2012.
Our next obituary is that of Lionel Antoine, a tackle in the NFL for 6 seasons and has passed away at the age of 71. And Antoine played college football at Southern Illinois and was selected in the third overall pick in the 1972 NFL Draft by the Chicago Bears. He played his entire NFL career with the Bears from 1972 to 1978.
Our last obituary is that of Peter Petkov, who played end for 2 different Canadian Football League teams. He's died at the age of 90. Petkov did not play college football, but he did play for a team that was known as the Hamilton Tiger Cats junior team. He went on to play for the Calgary Stampeders in 1953 and the Ottawa Rough Riders in 1955. Birthdays and anniversaries today, December 22nd. Punter Ray Guy turned 72 years old today. He played his college football at Ole Miss. He was the 23rd overall pick in the 1973 NFL Draft by the Oakland Raiders. I mean, that's unusual for a punter back in those days to be a number 1, first-round pick.
Right.
In fact, he was the first punter ever selected in the first round. He also kicked field goals and played safety when he was in college, and he once scored a 61-yard field goal, and he had 18 interceptions over his 3 seasons. Also, in high school, he was selected in the Major League Baseball draft as a pitcher. I've always thought of him as just a punter, but this guy was an athlete.
Are you sure you didn't mean he once kicked a 61-yard field goal and had 18 interceptions in 3 seasons in high school?
No, in college.
Interesting. You just phrased that whole sentence was all phrased weird.
No, I said he kicked field goals and played safety in college, and he once kicked a 61-yard field goal.
I'm critiquing your grammatical stuff. There's a lot of commas in here and not enough periods.
I know how it goes because I wrote it. Let's see. In 14 seasons with the NFL, he played them all with the Oakland/LA Raiders, and he won 3 Super Bowls and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2014. And then an anniversary today. On this date in 1946, the Cleveland Browns defeated the New York Yankees.
The baseball team?
No, the AAFC team. 14-9 in the first ever All-America Football Conference championship game.
Hey, there's a history lesson for you before you get into your history lesson this week. All the NFL teams that shared baseball team names.
Yes, I thought about that. I mean, there were many NFL teams back in the early days that took the name of the baseball team because they were playing in the baseball stadium.
Right.
And, so you had the Brooklyn Dodgers and
but
many.
not doing the history lesson right now because your history lesson this week.
I know. I'd have to research it and come up with all the names.
Your history lesson this week is an eye poking,
face slapping,
nucking good time.
Yes, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Today's story is the story of the famous 3 Horsemen of Boulder Dam. Could there possibly be a better combination than the great game of football and the 3 Stooges? If you've never seen the 1934 classic Stooges short, 3 Little Pigskins, then you don't know what you're missing. The short starts out with the boys getting jobs advertising an upcoming college football game between Boulder Dam College and Blue Point University. They are dressed up like football players and walking around town carrying large wooden signs advertising the game. Meanwhile, a crooked pro football team owner has a $50,000 bet on his own team to win their upcoming game when he finds out that 3 of his best players were involved in a car crash. He and his associates, along with their girlfriends, head out to find 3 replacement players. One of the girls sees Mo, Larry, and Curly in their football uniforms and mistakes them for the famous 3 Horsemen of Boulder Dam. This is obviously an homage to the 4 Horsemen of Notre Dame from 1924. The crooked team owner offers the boys a huge wad of cash to play for his team. When they say they can't play football, he assumes that they're talking about not playing pro football because they would lose their college eligibility. In other words, their amateur status. This is something that was very prevalent in the early days of pro football. College football was king, and pro football was looked down upon by many college coaches, players, and fans as an inferior product run by less than reputable team owners. However, many college players did earn extra money by playing pro football, under an assumed name, so they could still play college football. Some got caught, but many didn't. To convince the boys to play in the pro football game, the owner tells them that no one will see them play because the game will be played in an empty stadium. That also made it easier for the film crew since they didn't have to hire extras to sit in the stands during the game. The short also features a very young and very blonde actress named Lucille Ball in one of her very first film appearances. The climax of the short is, of course, a football game, where the Stooges wreak havoc on the football field. Why, the numbers on their uniforms alone should tell you that the boys have no idea what they're doing. Mo wears H2O2, which is the chemical symbol for hydrogen peroxide. Larry wears 1/2, and Curly simply has a giant question mark on his jersey. Never mind the fact that their uniforms are different from the rest of their team. That just makes them easier to identify on the field. The football players that the Stooges played against were actually from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. The football scenes were filmed at Gilmore Stadium in Los Angeles. It was a brand new stadium that year and had only been open for about 5 months when filming began. It was torn down in 1952 to make way for the CBS Television City Studios. Three Little Pigskins was filmed between October 25th and October 30th of 1934 and released in theaters on December 8th, 1934. This is classic Stooges comedy, and it also gives you a great look at what the uniforms, leather helmets, and other football equipment looked like back in 1934. The only better combination I can possibly think of than the Stooges and a football game would be the Marx Brothers and a football game. But that is a story for another day.
What are you, some kind of wise guy?
Love the
putting
Stooges.
This together.
Love the Stooges.
Yeah.
There's
the fact that you found a way to do this. I don't often give you credit when it is due, but it is due as, sir, this might be your greatest achievement ever in the history of this podcast. Finding a way to incorporate the Three Stooges into a history lesson is chef's kiss. So congratulations.
Yeah, there's a place north of Philadelphia called the Stoogium. It's a Three Stooges museum.
Yes, you've been there.
I've been there. God, it was a great place. They had so much memorabilia, just all kinds of stuff you've never seen before.
My favorite part is when you told me that they have, paid lookalikes there 24/7 who will slap you, poke your eyes out.
That's not true.
Hit you in the head with a hammer.
That's not true.
You can go to plumbing school with them and get trapped in plumbing.
No.
You go take a census with them and just walk around with a big old book.
Yeah.
If you know the Three Stooges, you get all these references.
The only thing was they would not allow you to take pictures in the Stoogium, which I thought was strange because I would have.
Did you tell them that all your pictures would be in black and white? Because that might be why.
No. All right. Upcoming events calendar. Friday, December 31st.
Oh my God, we are 9 days away from this.
Yep.
Oh.
The college football playoff semifinal games, the Cotton Bowl featuring number 1 Alabama versus number 4 Cincinnati, and that same day or night, it's going to be Michigan versus Georgia in the Orange Bowl, and then we'll know who's playing for the national championship. In a couple weeks.
Both of those should be some great games.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Cincinnati puts up at least a fight against Alabama. I mean, obviously, I'll be rooting for Cincinnati, but I just want to see a fight. I want to see them, take Alabama to the limit.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see Michigan win for a change.
And then see Michigan, see if they can finally get over the hump and get to a national championship.
Yep. Yeah, well, we'll see. It'll all be determined on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
All right, and then Saturday, January 8th, the FCS championship game is going to be played between number 2 North Dakota State and number 9 Montana State in
number
Frisco.
8 Montana State.
What did I say? Number 9?
Yep.
Oh, number 8.
Number 9.
Montana State in Frisco, Texas. That game is going to be on ESPN2. And then Sunday, January 9th, the NFL regular season comes to an end.
3 weeks away.
Monday, January 10th, the FBS National Championship game in Indianapolis, followed by, on Sunday, February 6th, the Pro Bowl game in Las Vegas, and Sunday, February 18th, Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles.
February 13th. Gosh.
What did I say?
You said the 18th.
Did I?
Yep. Go listen to the tape. I mean, it's not actually on tape. It's all digital, but go listen to the digital.
Okay. February 13th, Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles.
And I believe that's XL.
I don't know. I didn't write down the Roman numerals. I wrote 56, so I'd know how to say it. Okay. Anything else before we call this a podcast?
Nah, I believe that's all she wrote. Another good early morning edition of this show where I'm actually awake this time.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo, where we post a lot of unique stories, pictures, and highlights from all over the world of football. You can also hop over to our Twitter account, which is at TWOF Kalamazoo. We posted a poll up earlier in the show about which would you rather have, an NFL game every day or an NFL team in London. Go add your thoughts to that. We already got a comment on it, but we'll try to talk about that next week. I just thought it'd be fun to throw up there because
I haven't voted yet. So.
Yeah, you haven't. We only got 5 votes in right now. It's early, so go check that out. Let's see as I get back to my script. New episodes of this podcast are posted every Tuesday, except when the NFL delays games and we have to post on a Wednesday.
Thank you, COVID.
Like today. So be sure to come back on Tuesday where I'll have plenty of time. I won't have to complain or nothing. I get to sleep in.
That's right. You got next week off.
Yeah, I got all next week off. So could be catching up on some sleep, and he'll still be putting me to work on this podcast. So no time off apparently here. So you can find our podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the full show, as well as other selected video highlights. So subscribe, rate, review. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. It's greatly appreciated. And please come be a part of the football conversation.
Once again, this year we're doing our weekly NFL picks, but unlike other years, they're exclusively on our YouTube channel. So look for them every Thursday. If we get them done on time.
We'll see how this goes.
Throughout the
We're about
NFL
to record
season.
it, and we'll see how long it takes me to edit it.
Yeah. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Join us again next week when we'll review all the happenings in and around the world of football. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And if I were to be on a football team, my position would be hunchback.
Another great Stooges bit. Quarterback, halfback, hunchback.
See you next week.